What's going on YouTube? It's Ben, and in this video, we're going to talk about business lessons from Hugh Hefner. What's going on YouTube? It is Ben. Thanks so much for checking out my channel again. Of course, I had to do a Halloween video with my costume on, which is the full getup of Hugh Hefner. If you can see from top to bottom, of course you can't see, but the slides included as my shoes. So of course, I wanted to kind of theme that in and make that business lessons from someone who's massively successful. So we're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna go over 6 lessons learned by the great Hugh Hefner himself, not myself dressed as Hugh Hefner for Halloween, but the real Hugh Hefner and the business behind his entire monopoly. Because actually, this man was a very smart, shrewd businessman from going zero to hero like that. And there's so much to learn from him. I thought that it would be a perfect combination of not only dressing up like him, but giving you business lessons. The first and foremost is know the rules so that you can break them. Now, of course, this can be interpreted in many different ways. Some of you just might flat not like this idea. I think it's genius. I think knowing the rules so that you can either bend them, work around them, and or break them in a way that doesn't damage or hurt anything in your sight is perfect. Knowing the rules, understanding the game, and knowing exactly what your objectives are so that you can know exactly what your obstacles are, I think is incredibly important. And that's the way I interpret this when I studied through these lessons that I was learning and understanding what he actually did to get to where he was. Understanding what lies ahead of you, reverse engineering how you get to your goal from where you're at right now, knowing all of the rules in between so that if you have to jump over some things or go around obstacles, you're ready and prepared to do that. And I think that's extremely important. So know the rules. The second lesson is pretty simple and straightforward. It's take chances. This is something you hear all the time, right? Take the leap, take chances. I like to say burn the boats behind you so that you can't get back to where you were. The deal is you have to take chances if you're going to get somewhere in entrepreneurship. And so if you're starting a business, recruiting agency, Shopify, consulting, whatever it is, real estate agent, I don't know what you're doing out there, but whoever's watching, right, you've got to take a chance. I promise you there will be a moment where you have to make a decision, and it's going to come heavy, it's going to come to your mind, and it's going to be difficult. And it's going to be something that you really have to weigh pros and cons, but ultimately you're going to have to make a decision to take a chance on something that's going to really alter your future. And this is really the inflection point between where I was making 50 grand base salary, capped, that was it, sitting in a cubicle farm, to making multiple 6 figures, running my own recruiting agency, doing what I want, handling things the way I want, working my own hours, all that stuff, brag, 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 right? But here's the deal. That's the inflection point. I took a chance. That chance worked out for me. So I would totally implore you to follow Hugh Hefner's rule of taking chances. Hugh Hefner's third lesson in business is don't be afraid to ask for help. And I think this is something that you've probably heard before in many different contexts. However, it needs to be driven home that you absolutely cannot do everything on your own. You must ask for help at some point. You need to delegate. You need to add, resources that you don't have, right? So, do what you do best, outsource the rest. So if there's something that you're perfect at, do that all day long. And if there's some other task that you need done, but you're not excellent at doing that, get a specialist to do that for you and outsource that. Asking for help when you need it is really critical. And this doesn't just apply to practical things. This applies to the intangibles, right? So a lot of times entrepreneurs fall into depression, they fall into, mental blocks, they get slowed and bogged down by various things that might come up, and you have to know how to stay on your A game. So asking for help, whether it's mentorship or just somebody to talk to about what you're doing, your future plans, what have you, that is really, really important. And I think that's one of Hugh Hefner's key critical items of his lessons learned in business. All right, so Hugh Hefner's next rule in business is do not lose sight of what you believe in. Now, the way I interpret this is in an entrepreneurial sense is to keep your eye on the prize and know what your target is at all times so that you don't get shiny ball syndrome and you're looking at this, you're looking at that, you're trying to pick your options, but don't lose sight of what you believe in and what you know is going to work out for you. Another way I also interpret this is haters are going to hate, okay? So whether it's family members, friends, acquaintances, whomever, don't fall into the trap of letting others get inside of your head, change your perspective, change your mind, change your own belief in yourself, which can totally happen to so many people if you're not strong up here. Don't lose sight in what you believe in and what you know is going to work. Now, the only way that you know it's going to work is if you actually get results, and you have to do that on your own. But don't let anyone tell you you can't do something until you're proving that model out yourself. And then afterwards, you're just going to be proving everybody else wrong. So I absolutely 100% back this rule in business that Hugh Hefner has laid out. Do not lose sight of what you believe in. Hugh Hefner's next lesson in business that he has left us with after he passed, rest in peace, is to stay current. Now, I know that he was in the magazine business, right? And pop culture was a big thing related to him. However, in your industry, in whatever business you're doing, whether it's real estate or Shopify or whatever, you need to stay current, up to date. You need to understand what's going on in the market. So you need to be very business savvy as far as what people are charging for your same services, what competitors are doing what. I mean, don't bog yourself down with this stuff, but understand the general market and the general vibe of what's going on and how things are working out in the market so that you can be a key player, a linchpin, as Seth Godin puts it. You need to be a linchpin. You need to be someone that's needed and wanted. So knowing your market, knowing your competition, knowing everything about the market itself as a whole, you can create a scenario where your competition is irrelevant, essentially. Because if you know everything about them, you can overcome those things and you can offer better services, you can offer better pricing, and you can compete at a better level. So staying current, I think, is one of Hugh Hefner's greatest assets as a lesson learned that he's left with us. Mr. Hugh Hefner's sixth and final lesson in business that he's left us with is to do what you love. Life is too short. Do what you love. I didn't say I was going to agree with every single one of these lessons. This is one that I want to touch on because although I disagree somewhat with it, I do get the premise. Life is very short. You need to do what you love. However, I think you find that in work-life balance, okay? Because being an entrepreneur is not simple, okay? It's not something that you can always pick and choose and always love, okay? All right? That's one thing that I want to make clear. So in that scenario, you can't precisely do exactly what you love per se, but you can do a lot of things that are going to benefit you in the long run, and that is what you will end up loving. So you're not going to do what you love day to day, right? You know, working your business, being in it, hands-on, all day long, 24/7, working your butt off, right? That's not something you're going to love. But what you are going to love is spending 2-3 years eating dirt and then eventually doing all of the things that other people can't do, but you can do because you ate dirt for 2 to 3 years. Eventually, you're going to do what you love, but you got to get there somehow, and that takes hard work. So that's my spin on that lesson learned from Hugh Hefner, although I have mass respect for his business, his empire. Rest in peace, Hugh Hefner. Thank you for the business lessons. If you enjoyed this video, definitely smash that like button, subscribe, hit the alert button so you know every single time I come out with a new video, which is pretty much every single day, so I'll be planning on seeing you tomorrow. Until then,